Some of the biggest movies ever made looked like absolute disasters before they came out. Studios were nervous, critics were skeptical, and in some cases, even the people making them thought they were doomed. Here are 10 movies everyone expected to flop, but instead became huge. The Lego Movie. A feature-length movie about Lego? Yeah, that sounded like a 2-hour toy commercial. People expected something cheap, corporate, and forgettable. Instead, the Lego Movie was funny, clever, weirdly emotional, and became one of the biggest animated surprises of 2014. Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle. Rebooting Jumanji without Robin Williams already sounded risky. Then it had to compete with Star Wars. Not exactly ideal. But somehow, Welcome to the Jungle became a massive hit and launched an entirely new Jumanji franchise. The Blair Witch Project. Unknown actors, shaky cameras, almost no budget. It looked nothing like a traditional Hollywood movie. But the marketing was so convincing that some audiences genuinely wondered if the footage was real. And that tiny horror experiment became one of the most profitable movies ever made. Deadpool. For years, studios thought Deadpool was too risky. An R-rated superhero movie? Constant jokes? Breaking the fourth wall? Hard sell. Then, leaked test footage went viral, and suddenly audiences were begging for the movie. It finally got made and became a worldwide hit. Home Alone. Home Alone was actually abandoned by its original studio because the budget kept climbing. Another studio picked it up, and that too expensive little Christmas comedy? It became the highest-grossing live-action comedy of its time. Not bad for a kid defending his house with paint cans. By the way, if you like movie stories like this, the weird decisions, disasters, and behind-the-scenes chaos, subscribe, because Hollywood has made a lot of questionable choices. Guardians of the Galaxy. Before 2014, most people had no idea who the Guardians even were. A talking raccoon, a walking tree, and a superhero team almost nobody outside comic book fans knew. This was supposed to be Marvel's weird experiment. Instead, it turned Rocket and Groot into global icons. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. A movie about multiverses, taxes, martial arts, rocks, and hot dog fingers? Good luck pitching that! Nobody really knew what kind of movie this was supposed to be, but it became a 24's breakout hit, and then absolutely dominated the Oscars. Pirates of the Caribbean. At the time, pirate movies were considered box office poison, so making a massive Disney blockbuster based on a theme park ride? Already risky. Then Johnny Depp showed up with that strange voice, the hand gestures, the eyeliner, and executives reportedly had no idea what he was doing. Then Captain Jack Sparrow became one of the most iconic movie characters of the 2000s. Star Wars. Before Star Wars became, well, Star Wars, a lot of people thought George Lucas's space movie was just too weird. Robots, aliens, laser swords, a giant hairy creature flying a spaceship. Even some people involved weren't convinced it would work. Then it came out and completely changed Hollywood. Titanic. And then there's Titanic. The production was delayed, the budget exploded, and before release, the movie was being treated like one of Hollywood's most expensive potential disasters. A 3-hour romance where everybody already knows the ship sinks? It sounded insane. People expected Titanic to sink at the box office. Instead, it became the highest-grossing movie in history at the time, and won 11 Oscars. So, yeah, that prediction aged badly. Turns out, Hollywood is not always great at predicting what audiences will actually love. Which one surprised you the most? And what movie did everyone expect to flop that I missed? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe for more movie rabbit holes.